Thank you, everybody. We're so glad to have you at our talk.
Yeah, let me introduce myself. My name is Slava, and I'm the Director of Engineering in Wargaming platform team in Minsk. I'm driving all changes in the engineering culture, and also I'm responsible for software development and maintenance activities for platform as well.
And my name is Kseniya, and I work as a portfolio management manager for platform team. In platform, our teams are working on over 50 projects, delivering and building all the infrastructure and business tools for our games. And if this guy is all about how to do the work right, my focus is on doing the right work, making sure we are aligned with the priorities of our customers, as well as the company's strategy.
We've been through a lot of reorganizations and transformations. Sometimes we were on the same side, sometimes on a different. Sometimes we've been leading these organizations, and sometimes we've been affected side.
Yeah, in other words, we've been through a lot, like believe me, a lot. And sincerely, we wish that someone would come up to us and share at least a little bit what was coming up before it all started. So this is basically how this talk was born. We are here to give some heads up about what can go wrong and how to deal with it and not going insane when the transformation is big and intense. So I guess we can start.
Yeah, we are talking about reorgs here, quite sensitive and heavily discussed topic across different organizations and companies. So let's do a quick experiment here. So raise the hands those who has never been affected by the reorganizations at all, like never.
Let's say, like during the past year, you haven't experienced a change of process or
no changes of structure, yeah.
Yeah, anybody?
Like looks like everybody affected. Like no chance to escape, guys.
Yeah, and let me ask you another question, just one more. Like when you hear the word reorg, what kind of emotions do you feel? Well, if you feel excited, chances are you probably have never experienced a reorganization. Yeah, because normally people dread them.
Yeah, as an engineering manager, I realize that it takes a lot of time and energy to perform these activities, leaving alone the work we are doing every day.
Yeah, for people, reorgs bring a lot of like paralyzing uncertainty about their future, and it makes it near to impossible to concentrate on anything else.
Yeah, team get distracted by the work, and leads resist changes, key persons leave or become demotivated. Believe me, I saw it multiple times.
And yet, if you're a part of an organization today, especially in such a dynamic industry like ours, you have to be ready to transform frequently to keep up with the pace of change. It's like in Alice in Wonderland, you know, you have to do all the running it takes to stay in the same place. So kind of same thing here.
Yeah. Okay, here are the common elements of any transformation and transformation process, and also the main points of our presentation. And let's start with the why.
Yeah, that's right. What is a transformation and why companies are doing it all the time?
Then we need to define a starting point.
Yep, you have to start your journey somewhere, and what's most important, to understand where you are.
Yeah, and you need to think about the destination as well.
Yeah, obviously, because if you don't know where you're going, again, Alice in Wonderland, then path doesn't matter.
But when you know, the path does matter.
That's right. And
so why? What is in the heart of any transformation?
Yeah, sincerely, any transformation actually comes to a very simple idea. There is management, there is a managerial intent to improve something, to fix something about the organization, making it a better place to work for teams or delivering on certain objectives.
And there is always the other part, the team itself, their needs and their beliefs about the things that needs to be changed during this transformation to make their life easier or better.
Yeah, so in simple words, every transformation effort is or should be about growing this overlapping area to its most, because for the management, it means that they correctly identify the real needs and real problems of their organization. It gains them support and trust from the employees. And on the other hand, the employees feel that they are heard, that their real problems and real troubles are being resolved. And of course, in this case, they are more likely to support the change. Yeah.
Okay, like
it may all sound.
That's all sounds very logical. So let's leave the words and talk about numbers, because like I'm an engineer and I like numbers a lot.
Yeah, well, and when it comes to stats, it's like the things stop being really obvious because, well, yes, according to the Harvard Business Review data, like 70% of transformation actually do deliver value. But only like 16% of them actually delivers the objectives they are supposed to in the time they are supposed to. It basically makes 80% of reorganizations, well, a failure to deliver to their full objectives. And even worse, in the 9% of cases, the org actually damages the organization in the long run.
Oh yeah, guys, stop for a while and think about these numbers. You would probably agree with me that something is definitely wrong here, and there is a huge area to improve. So the big question is, if the companies invest a lot into a transformation, why the statistic is so weird?
And here's the answer that we learned being through a lot of transformation is no matter how much we wish the picture to be simple, actually the reality brings a lot of complications to it. So yes, there is management that wants to improve something. And it, like based on the best of their knowledge and experience and driven by their best intent. But along with this, there are a lot of assumptions in this area that could be wrong. Same on the other side. Sometimes people think they understand the root cause of the problems, and they tend to propose solutions, but without a bigger picture in mind. Those solutions, yes, maybe they can improve the situation on a local, like team level, but they can really damage the rest of the org in the long run. So, yes, the truth is that we still have to focus on that overlapping area.
But what else is true that this sport is harder to define, and you can get lost in the overlapping area of wrong assumptions, and it will probably end up as a failure.
Yeah, so we can understand what the first challenge is, and let's talk about how to avoid it. So it's important to understand to understand first the initial state, and it might surprise you, but this is probably the most underestimated step in the whole process. Yes, like typically organizations do not understand what they are changing from, which of course makes making any further steps pretty difficult to make.
Yeah, and as you see, your organization is perfectly designed to give you the business results that you have today. But if you want to improve these results, chances are you need to change some aspects of your organization, the processes, the structure, and the people themselves. Or perhaps you need to do all three.
Yeah, and this statement has even a deeper truth. If you don't understand which business results you want to change, you want to understand where to change the organization. And if you don't, you'd better not even start. Just do not do it. And
yeah, right. You just complete the fastest and most efficient transformation in your life. Like the fastest.
Yeah, I guess like if you stop right here, you save a lot of money and a lot of time and a lot of, probably you'll be out of a lot of pain. So yeah, no thanks needed. Okay, we're good. But if the quick option is not your option, then you have to be ready to save more time to dig into this first step in analyzing where you are, because evaluating where you are takes time and effort and has a lot of hidden pitfalls. We decided to pick one of the most typical ones and probably one of the trickiest and most dangerous ones. So the first one is about neglecting your legacy culture. And the other one is the tendency to focus on what we need to fix, on the negatives only, on the weaknesses, and overlooking the strengths that we actually need to rely on and save. So, talking about legacy culture, let me just ask you, like, is this situation familiar to you? Like, you know, when a senior leader goes up the stage and say, "Hey, everybody, welcome to our all hands meeting, and I want to share something with you. We are embracing this new, shiny, bright initiative. We're gonna become agile. Oh, hey, we're implementing portfolio management." Or, yeah, now it's all about lean budgeting. Or, yeah, we're switching to the metrics org, or whatever. And we are fully committed, like never before. We're gonna do it fast as we can, and we end up in the bright and shiny future. Does it sound exciting?
Yeah, have you already finished? Like, that's very incredible and sounds incredible. Yep, like next reorganization. Cool.
Yeah, this is a pretty common occurrence. Like, those initiatives come as a really loud announcements, and then the teams are like, yeah, whatever, and yet another change. Probably it's the same as the last year or not, I'm not sure, but whatever, it will go. So why is this happening? This happens because any company has its legacy culture. Even if it's like a 2-person startup company that never have meetings, this is the culture you have. This is the real thing that you're about to change. This is the real thing you want to walk away from. So no matter how bright and shiny the initiatives you're proposing, what really drives the day-to-day life of your organization is what Matt LeMay interestingly defined as zombie beliefs. Yeah, that's right. What are the zombie beliefs? So, zombie beliefs are the beliefs about your organization that are widely shared but rarely stated outright. They are the assumptions that are so deeply cooked in every fiber of your everyday life that nobody actually cares to say them aloud. And yet, everyone's kind of know about them, and everyone believes them. And it's kind of not attributable to any particular individual. You cannot, imagine a manager coming up to a room and saying, "Hey, this organization is all fluff. We are caring about the profits. It will go, but whatever. Just put a check mark. We are transforming or whatever." No, nothing like this happens. The zombie beliefs living in the walls. They are spoken in the hushed tones, and they are part of the conversation why your new initiative won't work. Because if the last didn't, then why this new would? So, Slava, would you help me with just some examples of zombie beliefs that you heard?
Yeah, I provide you some. Let's have first one, like our organization is too big to perform the transformation. We could never do it. Or like agile is another buzzword and that will not help me to perform my regular activities in the development. Or like co-development sucks because this team is really bad. Like I don't want to invest my time to coach them and make them as well as I want. So I could name a lot, but maybe that's enough.
Yeah, well, thanks, but the trick is that you won't hear that from people. Yes, this make it really hard to address the zombie beliefs. And because you cannot address something that is not actually there. But at the same time, those informal, really weird stuff sometimes exceeds the power of any formal statements. This is what people feel and believe. And they don't really care about what you're announcing at the all hands if they are bothered with the beliefs that are deeply in their mind. So how would you address them? So the first, you start with just talking to people really, really extensively and candidly, making sure you identifying and understanding the zombie beliefs. And you know what? The senior leadership genuinely surprised by the existence of them, because oftentimes the leadership might be somehow not close enough to the people to know about them, because we normally talk to consultants. They live in the world of high rhetorics and the world of limitless possibilities, but they don't really understand what the people feel, and they might be surprised. And then when you understand them, just name them. Give them form, give them shape. You cannot fight something that is not there. So you have to speak them. You have to acknowledge the reasons behind them, the root causes of what made people fear certain things or doubt certain things, and explain them how this new initiative, how this new activity would help overcome that and move away from such beliefs. And sincerely, this is about creating a unique language of transformation, which has no more clashes between formal statements and beliefs of the people. You start to speak the same language. And this is very important, because when people feel you understand. And they see that your change can bring a value and make a difference. The other thing is focusing only on weakness. Well, when everything's falling apart is when actually we start thinking about transforming, right? It's very tempting to want to change the whole organization at once, like everything. And pause for a moment and think how much of your organization is actually broken. Because it's a rare case when all of your results are bad. Most likely, some of them are bad, but some of them are good and some of them are okay. So it's at this point, it's vital to understand your strengths, to highlight them, and to make sure you're not doing anything to break what is already working well.
Yeah, based on our experience, only 20 to 30% of organization actually changes. The trick is to identify these 20 to 30% right and address them by the transformation.
Yeah, consider this medical analogy. Imagine a surgeon is about to operate on a cancer patient, and first what she does is diagnostics to understand where the healthy tissue, where is the bad one. And yes, she might take away some of the healthy tissue as a margin to make sure she got rid of all the bad one, but then a lot of effort is made to avoid unnecessary cutting and further damaging the patient.
So why the executives running organizations not so careful?
Yeah, so just not remove the healthy tissue of your organization.
Yeah, I don't know. So let's summarize. We need to understand why we are doing it, what we are doing and what we are changing from. Identify strengths and weaknesses of the organization, and then concentrate only on what needs to be changed without breaking what is working and should remain as is. So we have already passed 2 steps, the why and the where from. Now it's time to talk about our destination point.
Yeah, and when it comes to destination, here it's time to have a clear vision. Because you cannot just come up to the people and say, hey, here's our new process, then throw out a 300-page document into their faces and say, hey, live with it. Well, chances are people won't be really happy about that kind of change. Because literally what it means to them is just more pointless work, while most likely they have already enough to do. Yeah,
so the vision is important. Of course, we cannot say you what's your transformation should be in case of business perspective, but at least we can provide you some questions that you could ask to yourself. For example, isn't what are you doing in Utopia? Like, you need to be sure that your target is reachable.
Yeah, and also how far this target is from where you are. Because you don't want to be stuck in the transformation. Because like in any journey, you can just run out of gas and get stuck in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Is the vision enough for people to follow you? Are you on the same page with your crew? Do you feel and share like the ideas the same as they do?
Yeah, and talking about people, here's the toughest one. Because there are gonna be losses. You shouldn't be illusioned. People will leave. Transformation is a not convenient place to be. So you really have to be prepared to mitigate that situation and to do it quickly and, without a lot of hard feelings, because that's what it takes sometimes.
Yeah, another one is, will results still matter when you finish? It's like the situation with the software development. When you pick some technology and start your development cycle, and let's say it takes a year or two to deliver. So this technology will be probably outdated, just believe me. Yeah, do we have the last one question? No.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, looks like we are ready to jump right to the tactics that will help us to go through this journey.
Yeah, it's probably another simple truth, but as tactics without a clear vision won't take you anywhere, just talking about high-level things won't either. So jumping into the tactics, there are just some points that we found important to memorize. So first, you have to be realistic and think before you jump into revolution that maybe evolutionary path is more important. And again, evaluating where you are and where you want to go, just agree on the degree of radical changes you want to take. You should communicate right while changing. This is important because the communication is a thing that covers the teams, the leadership, and the partners in your organization. You have to be transparent. And there is an interesting fallacy that management often falls into, is like this wait and see kind of thing, when there's been a lot of planning, and for some reason the management is just keeping it real secret. Like no one should know until the last moment what's going to happen. But we all know that, especially in the big corporations, and even not a big one, the rumors spread widely, and most likely forming the wrong expectations about what you are trying to achieve. And when you actually open up and show your plan, you probably have a lot of fans of it already. So try to be transparent. Try to involve people of different levels at different stages of your change, and make them feel safe about what you're trying to do.
Yeah, right. If you will define the roles and responsibilities and delegate some activities to your crew, that may help you to perform this reorganization. Like, you need to involve BAs, QAs, managers, and developers into this activity. And this may help you to perform the changes and convince others. And yeah, during your execution phase, you should keep in mind the starting point and the destination, and you should be ready to change your steps. You should define these tactical steps. And these small tactical steps will allow you to have quick wins and allow you to have everybody on board.
Yeah, and on the side note, but not really on the side note, no matter how solid your plan is, and no matter how fixed and documented it is, be aware if something's not working, be ready to change. And there will be some people who are opposed to that. And at some point they might be right. So be ready to listen on how you can improve. Be ready to change. But
don't take your eyes off your goals.
Yeah.
Be sure that if you're changing the tactics, the target is still the same and you are reaching this target.
Yeah, and looks like we are jumping to a summary here. So what it takes to do the transformation right or better than you did before. So first, have a good business rationale for your transformation. Focus on delivery rather than, or even more than, on the design itself. Recognize that there will be pitfalls and issues along the way. Try to learn from your previous experience, well, yours or from other organizations. Accelerate the process and minimize the upsets for your colleagues and partners, and try to deliver the business results as soon as possible. But most importantly, as a leader, you have to stand up to the plate. You have to lead your way. You have to lead your people through these complicated times. The transformation are complicated for people. You have to be a leader, and this is a kind of skill you cannot delegate or outsource. And the last but not least,
yeah. Never stop, never stopping.
It's only gonna get better. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. I don't know.
It's question time, so if you have any zombies, if you have any questions, feel free to fire. Anyone?
Oh my.
Hi, my name is Tatiana, and thank you for your talk. I have a question. What you would definitely not do, knowing what happened in the past, if you started any changes now? Like, what is the best or are the best lessons learned?
Okay, let me be the first. I propose to stop and think for a while and not start the execution phase immediately. Okay, I have an idea, let's perform. And please do not keep some secrets from your crew, because when you have a lot of ideas in your head that they cannot read your mind, so share these ideas and get the feedback about it. Try to convince people that you need this reorg or you need this transformation, you need this process being changed, because otherwise you will have only defensive behavior.
Yeah, and I agree with Slava, and all I would add is that probably spend some more time thinking about why would you do certain things. And what I can add to this is probably the whole presentation we gave to that, because we really tried to keep the gist of what was important for us to know before we embarked on the transformation. But thanks for the question.
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I really loved your analogy with the surgeon.
Oh, really?
And I have a question around that. So, keeping the analogy, if somebody ran diagnostic on me, then this somebody probably is not going to be the surgeon who actually do the operation. And then there is another specialist involved for the follow-up. But I find that in organization, usually, when there is a change in the transformation, we don't really look for a specialist in that area, and we think that our leaders are well equipped to run the transformation on top of the duties that they have to carry. Why is that, and do you have the same experience?
Well, actually, it's a very good point that probably before jumping to your own conclusion and making your own diagnosis, so probably you want to listen to someone who's in the field, who's been there before, or who's been doing that professionally. But I guess it's important to combine the understanding of being in the situation, understanding what really the context very well, combine it with the, theory or alternative experience is important. And as much as you can get from outside is very good, but I guess that really applying it to the perspective you have and to the context you have is essential. But I think it's a great thing. If you feel, especially if you're a new leader, you don't understand the context, probably it makes sense to find those specialists who perform the diagnostic phase for you, and you can think about it and involve them more. I think this is a very important.
And let me add a couple more words. Like, as we told, we run a lot of reorganizations and transformations, not only in wargaming. And yes, sometimes you definitely need a consult. Like, you need to be consult and to be able to like step out of the situation and look outside. But in case of your leadership team is pretty experienced in transformation, so they could do both. Like, they could first of all take a look on the situation and then provide you a right solution to perform this transformation or reorganization. So both, like, you could have the different persons that first is consulting you and you are performing, or if you're so experienced, you may do it at the same time. Like, why not?
Thank you, guys. Amazing talk. I really like the concept of zombie beliefs, and from what you said, you've really got to understand what the people on the field really feel in order to like do something about it. Have you got any tactics that you can use to like get that knowledge out and maybe escalate it to the people that can make decisions around the project?
Yeah, like I said, that you probably just named the steps of it. So as long as it's not a formalized thing, it also takes a non-conventional approaches, to it. So yes, it probably being closer to people creating a natural environment when you can get those ideas from, like really proving that you are open and candid with people, making them comfortable to talk about. I mean, this is one thing, and probably using your network, whatever, getting the information you can rely on is another thing that you can do. And what's important, because sometimes it's hard to differentiate between just simple rumors and the real beliefs, opinions of individuals and real beliefs shared. So it takes like a lot of people to talk to, not just, just a couple of them on your team. It's important to gather this information, analyze it, and find the common patterns, and find the reason for this commonly shared, disbelief or frustration. And then, yes, if you can do something about it yourself, then it's great. Just take it and act on it. But you're right. If you're not in the position to break them, then it makes sense to take it further and higher. Thanks.
And this time, nothing to it. Yeah, I could summarize it. Yeah, talk to your people, be like almost as a friends with your crew. And in this case, you will be able to hear all these gossips and rumors and zombie beliefs. So.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay. Then let's give a round of warm applause to our speakers. Thank you.